Hello and welcome to Enter the Dragon Tamers Den, a Pokemon Go PvP podcast and the official podcast of the Battle Frontier. I am TacoDog8.
And I'm JetForceGemini.
And if you're new around here, welcome. I hope you sit back, relax, enjoy. If you're not new around here, I'm back. I was gone for about 2 weeks.
I have returned.
I am back from the land they call Iowa. But Taco, you live there. Not important. What is important?
No es importante.
What is important is I'm glad to be back. I want to give a huge shout out to Reviving Ophelia for stepping in at my place last week, and I absolutely loved the episode that you and Jet were a part of that we're doing. So even though I'm behind the scenes, I'm still supporting you guys. I'll be y'all's biggest cheerleader. Woo!
I mean, you even were cheerleading on the day of. It was very supportive.
I had to, Well, actually, that kind of brings us into like last week. Last week was my birthday. I turned 29 officially. So last year my 30. Stop. Yeah. So yeah, it was 29. So I kind of celebrated a little bit. My wife decided to surprise me with a brand new phone, and so I have finally upgraded from my S21 to my S24 Ultra, which I like it, but I don't know what to do with the pen. Like,
just click it whenever you're nervous.
Is it just a fidget toy?
A little bit.
Okay, it's a fidget toy, so I love it. So
also, if you have your sound on, there's like a sound effect that plays when you take it out of the phone.
We're gonna take a quick. Okay. I'm gonna raise this up. Let's see if I can hear. I can't hear anything. Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, it's fun. The other thing that's just probably gonna take some getting used to is that it's kind of massive.
That actually, so I came from the 21, and with my quad lock case, it was about the same size as this, like height wise. Width-wise,
Gotcha.
it was about an inch bigger. So, or wider. So I ordered the quad lock case for it because I ride my bicycle. And I'm tired of like putting this in this big old bulky like dad phone case and just like slapping it on my bicycle and hoping it doesn't fall off, or putting it in. And like I'm still like setting it up, like getting it to my watch and my earbuds.
Sure.
And so like I keep forgetting to like pair it to the point where I can just like triple tap the earbud to answer phone, so I have to like pull over, get the phone out, and then answer it. So it's some growing pains.
All the stuff you don't want to be doing while riding a bike.
Yes, and especially when you're going up a hill and like a phone rings, I already don't want to answer phones, but like when you do that, I'm like, nope, I'm not answering. But then there's some people that like you have to answer, like the wife. Because I'm on my way home, and she'd be like, "Hey, can you stop and pick up, this or this?" And I'll be like, "Sure, why not?"
I'm glad you're being safe in the meantime.
Yeah. So that's kind of been the whole spiel. And then I went out for Community Day for Galarian Ponyta. Got my Stardust reserves back over 500,000 because Taco would be hurting for that Stardust. And yeah,
what did you build recently that you're so low?
Nothing. I just didn't play the game from September the 1st to September the 9th. Did not touch the game at all.
Was that liberating?
It was. It very much was liberating, because I realized that, the game is fun and all, but kind of had like a soul searching moment type thing, where I just didn't. I just put the game down, and I was like, well, if I don't pick up the game, then I know I can just put it down whenever. And I did for.
I can quit.
Yeah, I was like, I can quit. And then I got the new phone, and I go, we're back on the horse.
Gotta try all these new moves and stuff.
Actually, yeah, I'm super behind on everything. I feel like, oh goodness, I feel like a new player again. But just kind of like looking at it, and now like I have my own goals of what I want to do, and my official goal from here on out is being a great replacement player for the Battle Frontier, and like a good sub, and catching semi-rare Pokemon and porting them over into Scarlet and Violet, because at this point that's what Go is good for, the free shinies.
Are you still gonna do the Battle Pass completion?
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
I'm gonna try. I hit rank 16 today, and yeah. So
if we're gonna talk about GBL, like I could say the weird thing that I was doing today with GBL. I didn't play much over the weekend because I went and played the local, but
yeah.
I was, and this is not something that happens to me very often, and it's just because it's early season, where I was doing my best to dodge queuing into Rise, where I was like, I don't wanna
play.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair, right? Because like, it feels kind of weird to queue into players who are like streaming, and you're doing like this off the wall stuff, and like it can sometimes come out as you're street sniping, but like the early, I would say like ranks 1 to 15 is like you're trying out new things, you're seeing what works, you're seeing what doesn't work. So if I want to use
my early ranks were fun. I said already my whole spiel with playing the Shaman Sky, but yeah, Ultra has got better than anticipated, thanks to stealing a team and then just using it for the sets that I have played.
I am definitely enjoying Ultra League a little bit more than I thought I would as well. But before I forget, Jet, tell us about your week. You said you had a local, and you did other things. So
yeah, I made it to a tournament. Yay! And it's the first challenge that they had in the new meta, so that was fun. I missed the inaugural one, but I feel okay about it now that I've actually made it to a local, and it's a nice spot. It seems like people who have been running play events for long enough that they have a lot of the stuff figured out, or they have the guy with the megaphone that's like calling out to each group, whether you're VGC, TCG, or Go, like, hey, your next round pairings are up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very big store. Like you said, they have megaphone?
It's not huge, but they operate essentially out the back of the store, where they just have like a rolling door that they just throw open, and so it's actually pretty nice. It feels way more spacious because you're not boxed in.
I feel that the place that I play the locals at, it feels extremely boxed in. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
hope
you're not claustrophobic.
I'm still trying to pass my Pokemon Professor test. I just gotta remember to take it. I'm gonna see if I can get a local store in at one of the nearby areas in the little metro area that we have. I can bike it, so that means I can go to their tournaments. It's only like the equivalent of, what is it, 12 miles? It's only 12 miles. I can do it. I don't want to.
I would not be able to bike this. It is a little tricky, but the drive isn't too bad, and knowing that it's on weekends is also a big plus for me because it would be way more problematic during the week, which was kind of what we did for Sylph. Was like we had like Tuesday or Thursday nights as like tournament nights, so I'm glad that this group has gone the weekend route.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say like, at least at my local, they won't do it on the weekends, but they're the only basically game shop in my area that we have to compete with Warhammer 40k, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then there's a couple of other like mini Star Wars is also kind of the Star Wars miniature game, which I didn't know was a thing. And so like there's other games that unfortunately Pokemon is Tuesday nights, so we play on Tuesdays.
You have a lane, stay in it.
But the Cups now, we will kick those Magic the Gathering players out on Saturdays and like just take over the shop. So
yeah, well, and that's the cool thing is that this was a nice, calm introduction to the space and just like the people and everything. And next weekend is the Cup, and apparently there's people coming down from LA, so it should be a much bigger affair.
Nice. Yeah, Cups are always generally a fun time. You get people from out of town coming, like states. Usually, sometimes it's states away. Others is just like, in your case, LA, which is stacked. So.
Yeah, well, and as I've said / complained about before, it was the only game in town for a little bit there as far as the locals went. So I feel like they're probably also happy to have more relatively close locations that they have the option of playing at. But it was cool to see that there are like actually some new players just trying it out, whether they're jumping from GBL over to Show 6 or they're jumping into Pokemon Go completely, like from TCG. It blows my mind that anyone is willing to try our game, given the lack of. Sorry,
I was gonna say the state that the game is in.
Well, state of the game is one thing, but I just mean onboarding within the app, and even just like figuring out where to look for information is sometimes very difficult until you know, right? So it's always amazing to me that people are willing to stick with it long enough to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad. So that's awesome. And then, how was your community today?
It was really relaxed. We just did kind of our local walk. There's a trail that goes out to a little lake. Kind of did the loop. We played actively for maybe half of the time, and then the rest was just kind of whatever. Trying to think if there's anything else like fun we did this week. We checked in on the regional throughout the weekend as well. That was fun to see some of our people show up for that. I
have a conspiracy theory about Play Pokemon Now.
What is it?
So one of the mods deleted my message when I was trying to hype up Cheesy Curl, and I just said, well, this isn't the first time they've deleted something when I'm trying to hype up a member of the Dinair family, so I'm just gonna go with the Play Pokemon hates Dinair, don't care. It's confirmed.
Oh, just with the moderation stuff.
Yeah. I'm not gonna explain myself further on that one. That's just my area. You cannot change my mind. It's just not gonna happen.
Generally though, I think around here everyone was just glad to have the heat wave be over.
Yeah. We got a heat wave this week. I'm probably, but next episode I'm probably gonna be darker.
Just go olive.
Yeah, pretty much. which is gonna be a little jarring for me because I haven't tanned in a while.
Got some outdoor activities planned.
I was like 2016 when I was in like the college marching band. That was the last time I really tanned because we were outside like 7 to 9, and then from 9 to 7 or 7 to 9, somewhere around there. It was like a week, but oh, before I forget, we also have to give this special shout out because it's something we did on last week, actually, Saturday night. We were on an episode. We were returning guests on As the Pokeball Turns on a live stream. I think it was As the Great, or not. It wasn't As the Pokeball. It was like a Great Ball live stream. It was really cool, and it was just nice to like show some things and kind of reminisce about our journey with Pokemon. Of course, some of you are probably looking at that Pikachu bank right there, and I'm not going to bring it close to the camera because we saw how nightmare-inducing it was on Saturday.
The obscurity helps it immensely.
Absolutely. But one day, we'll point it up here to scar everybody.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun just to kind of have that in the back of my mind through the week. Like, what do I want to show off as far as just like the Pokemon stuff I've collected over the years?
Yeah, I wish I had more stuff, but I move a lot, so things get lost in the move, which makes me sad.
I thought about asking you if you wanted to do just like a section for things that have been lost one way or another.
Oh, I could list off tons, like all my strategy guides.
Top of the list was I had the Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Ho-Oh Lugia figurines that my Aussies ate when they were puppies.
Oh no!
Just completely devoured.
I think top of the list for me would be my copy of Pokemon Gold, my Game Boy Advance SP, so I could play Gold, and then my Emerald, Fire Red, my Fire Red Leaf Green Strategy Guide, Pokemon Emerald Strategy Guide, and then the Diamond and Pearl Part 1, and then Part 2 is just like the Pokedex. I had lost all of those, and I got so sad.
Yeah, that sounds like stuff that would have been in the same box.
Yeah, but now I replaced all those strategy guides with D&D books that you can just see behind me. Barely. But this is a Pokemon Go podcast. This is D&D.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's making that little bookshelf behind it like bend a little. It started like this. I put all the books on the top, and the thing started doing this, so I put it all on the bottom. So like if it falls or if it collapses, like it won't be as bad.
Yeah, heavy stuff on bottom.
I didn't think the books would be that heavy.
Always on the bottom.
I was wrong. Alright, so with that, we are going to move into a little bit, or actually a lot of news. So this announcement, giant info dump. Get ready. I just gotta navigate and use OBS on this monitor. Alright, so first update. We have the Psychic Spectacular event, and the website wasn't letting me download the infographic, so I screenshotted this to make it look nice and pretty. So starting this Wednesday through Sunday, basically the day after this episode goes live is when this ends, we're having a new Pokemon, Hatini, whatever, makes their Pokemon Go debut. Dynamax Beldum also appears. I don't care about either of that. This is what I care about. 2 times Stardust for catching Pokemon. Of course, special event for all you egg enthusiasts. You get additional candy for nice throws or better, and then of course, increased XL candy if you make nice throws or better. But pretty much everybody should be level 31 at this point. at least everybody that listens to the podcast.
Yeah, if you've played for a week, you're over level 30.
Yeah. No, actually, I think if you played for a month, keeping up with friendship bonuses, you are level 30. And that's assuming you haven't caught a single Pokemon. Maybe. The math is probably off for me, but
I was checking out Hatterene moveset just because I figure that's probably the Pokemon that we'll see the most.
I would ask, has the moveset been revealed? But
it's on PvPoke, so
yeah. Well, it's also on Pokemon Go Hub, so it's got Confusion and Charm, and then Psyshock, Dazzling Gleam, and Psychic. Just what we need, another Charmer.
I see a few more moves on PvPoke. They've got Psycho Cut and Power Whip as well.
Oh, you're looking at Hatterene. Sorry, I was looking at like the baby.
The Babby?
I was looking at the Babby. But yes, you are correct. Psycho Cut, Confusion, Charm for the big... Wait, isn't this the Pokemon that if it senses strong emotions, it will delete everything in that direction to get rid of the strong emotion? Okay. This is now the most metal fairy Pokemon before... or just behind Zacian and Mawile. But yes, you are correct. Psycho Cut, Confusion, Charm.
Grimmsnarl, also pretty metal. But we'll get to there.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah, so Psychic, Dazzling Gleam, Power Whip, and Psyshock. I'm gonna guess the preferred moveset is gonna be Psycho Cut. Unless you're a degenerate charm user, you know who you are. Gonna be Psycho Cut, Dazzling Gleam, and Power Whip for coverage? Or something along those lines?
I think Psyshock is the cheapest move that it has. It makes the most sense to run, but it's so attack weighted that I also won't be surprised if it's just a fast move beat down Pokemon for the most part if you decide to use it at all.
Oh, this thing is going to be live during the Psychic Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my team is going to eat this thing alive, and I'm going to love it!
Well, the tricky bit with it, though, is that it introduces a new Charmer.
Yeah.
So
why did you have to bring that part? I mean, you are correct.
That's the trade-off, is we have a new Psychic Charmer that gets Stab Charm, so...
Is this? No, this isn't the first Psychic Fairy, because we have Rapidash in the game.
And Gardevoir.
Yeah. I forgot. I feel bad. I forgot about Gardevoir.
The original.
But yeah. Yeah. Of course, yeah. So also there's Dynamax Beldum, so now you can get your Dynamax Metagross. I know Beldum is a fan favorite for a lot of people, so I'm not going to... What's the word? I'm not going to, make fun of it too much, because Metagross is a pretty cool pseudo-legendary, or powerhouse Pokemon is what the official game term is now.
Yeah, the new updated merge tag.
Powerhouse Pokemon. Yeah, so this is definitely going to be something that I'm going to probably be playing just to get more Stardust, because I want to get to 1 million hopefully by the end of the year.
Well,
if I don't build anything, it's going to happen.
If you've caught up with the Dynamax stuff, like Metagross just rounds out some good neutral coverage for anything that could come out next, since we have no idea where they're going with it actually.
Yeah. I mean, and also I was going to say I can throw like Metagross in to get like XL candy, because you can like drop it in and it just farms candy. But I already have enough to max out a Shadow and a regular. It's at this point it's a little redundant for me.
Yeah, well, and I haven't seen anything to suggest that the XL candy farming actually works. So we'll see. That could be still a later on thing.
100%.
But yeah,
But yeah,
the first potentially decent XL Pokemon from the list.
yeah, looking a little bit further on, we do also have the Sword and Shield themed event with you get the shiny Zacian or shiny Zamazentas coming to the game. We still do not have their crown forms, but whatever.
That has to be part of this season though. Like I don't know how you have a Galar themed entire season and not do them and finally do the actual like other legendary that we don't have yet.
Oh, see, that's what we thought about Sinnoh Tour, but yet we're still missing Manaphy, Fione, and Arceus.
Well, and I think everyone agreed that was just a complete ball drop on their part. Like they just forgot, as far as anyone could tell, that they hadn't actually released all the Pokemon. It's like, yeah.
So now it's, what are we gonna do now? Oh, I don't know. Maybe we're gonna do this instead.
Yeah, they had to do the backpedal where they're like, "Oh, we never said we would do that," except
I don't know. When you release all the shinies for Kanto and Johto, and you finally release Kecleon for Hoenn, what is the player base gonna think, Niantic?
Yeah, you've managed to do it 3 times in a row. So fourth time was too many, I guess. Like we shouldn't be surprised.
Whoever is, I don't know if this is a community manager problem, because like their whole job is to essentially listen to the community, or if it's like, how do we implement this? I guess I wouldn't say developers. Whoever is there trying to implement events, make sure they go off of that it hits the logistics people. Get it together, please.
Well, and we already know that they're perfectly happy time gating stuff. So just like if you need to build in time for it, like at least say, hey, you get it at the end of this research that's 20 steps, and each step takes 2 weeks.
I'll remember. I know, because everyone knows time gated research is definitely there forever. It's never gonna go away, unfortunately.
Yeah, I hate it, but at the same time, it's just like, on the other hand, I prefer when they at least just have the actual stopgap researches, like the season-long ones, where it's just like, hey, professor's doing whatever, so you're like as far as you can be right now. It's like, I would rather have that than a thing that says like, do this for 4 weeks or whatever we've done like previously for some of the masterwork ones, where it's just, it doesn't feel nice. I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, we should have seen this coming when they released the steps for how to level up to 50, when they put in walk 25 kilometers 8 times. Essentially, time gating level 50.
It still tickles me though when I look at the requirements, or like when I have been reintroduced to them as like other people have leveled up, because more than once the requirements have gotten easier than what I did. So it's just like, oh, I guess the kids were having a skill issue. But yeah,
like I'll be very honest, like I think I got 1 more week of walking 25 kilometers, and then I just need 600-ish thousand XP, and I'm level 48, I think. Level 48 or 49, I can't remember. And I don't feel like opening the game right now to look it up. That'll be like a break thing.
Yeah.
But it's
the other one that used to matter was getting the 30 or however many platinum medals that you need. But they've added so many medals in the meantime that the things that you could, like, there was a very small number that you could omit and still hit that number, and now it's just, it feels like you barely have to go outside your comfort zone to get the requirement.
Oh, the other one was the buddy souvenirs, because apparently I don't deal with buddy system. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, well, and that's a lot easier if you know you can, like, push the back button and load up a whole bunch of, like, a whole page of buddy 4s with souvenirs.
Yeah. But you know, it is what it is. And then finally, Passimian and Oranguru Research Day. This is important because we're getting a new shiny in the form of shiny Passimian. Yay, I think.
Is that at the end of the month?
About. No, it's the end of the week when this episode goes live.
Huh.
I'm like 99% sure. Yeah, here. Yes. September 22nd from 2 to 5.
Okay.
I have a cup during that time, so I'm probably gonna not participate in it. 100%.
Well, yeah, and that same deal for me, where it's like, oh, well, maybe I can get the new shiny. Maybe if it doesn't go well, I don't care. It's just like, peace out.
Yeah. Go 0-3 and drop. Like they do at regionals.
Yeah, the VG regionals where you actually get more than 2 shots.
Yeah. There was also a showcase change, which I think is pretty interesting. I don't necessarily know what it entails other than... Yeah, what does it entail?
Well, you'll notice that while we're recording, the local showcases are normal types, but unlike every other time, they're not being dominated by Snorlax. You can have any XXL normal type, because it's just comparing it to its actual rating just as a species.
Oh.
So if you have just like your 100th percentile Rattata, it can now be your big showcase winner.
Okay. I hate it.
Well,
I think
it makes some things a little easier, right? Like, you don't have to hoard the Onyx family for the rock and ground types. You don't have to hoard Snorlaxes or Citadels or whatever it is. You can just keep your biggest one as long as they figure out what they want with the whole you can't have won a showcase with it recently nonsense.
I don't know, man. I found it hilarious when I would drop a Steelix in, and it would just be like worth more points than like an Origin form Dialga.
Right. Well, and that was the thing, right? Like, anytime it was a biggest Pokemon showcase, like if you had a Alolan Executor, you were all set, right? Like, so that's the other thing now. You don't have to like beat yourself up to try to find is a Alolan Executor. It's like you can.
I would just ask for it.
You can go into your storage and just go ahead and kick some of those out.
That's fair. Okay, so now we can move on into the Battle Frontier news. So, we have an official start date, another postponement.
We didn't start this week.
We had another postponement, but you know, it does happen. Friday, September the 23rd, yes, is the official start date of Cycle 3. This is very important, and I'm happy that the meta team did this because
You said Monday, right?
Yeah, Monday the 23rd.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. It was originally going to be September the 16th, but kind of figured that, you know, it wouldn't really be enough time to kind of get all the meta changes done so that, like, you know, Pokemon needed to be fixed or needed to be banned, might get missed, and then they do hot fix it or hot bans. And that,
well, and even more than the bans themselves or just like the meta changes is like how much time you give all of the teams to digest the information and the changes.
Yeah.
because I feel like we could have started this week, but it would have been, hey, so day of, here are your changes. Good luck. And this version is more kind to everyone, I think.
I had a mini heart attack for a second. So this is completely not related to Pokemon Go, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I started playing fantasy football again, and like the game that I'm currently supposed to win is like this close, and I'm just hoping that like their player just doesn't get the ball and get points, because there's a chance I can actually lose this week, and I don't want to lose.
If you don't look at it, they can't score points.
That's fair. But yes, that was. Complete things aside, we'll talk about that on another time. Battlefront 2. So, Malamar unfortunately is getting the Flygon treatment and is being banned in both Polaris and Wasteland. Pangoro and Ladian users in the Wasteland are confirmed to still be banned. In the Polaris field, all Mudslap users are banned. Pangoro, I already said that. Ariados is also banned in Polaris, which is gonna be like a change, because Ariados was up there.
And I feel like it's more impactful for Battle Tower players who got used to running Vikavolt, because I did know that it wasn't super high on the usage, but there were a few people or players who really seemed to prefer it. And similar to Electric Cup, as a Mudslap user, it kind of just is in the group that is no longer involved.
Yeah. Celio and Satotl, though, are unbanned for Polaris, which is kind of neat.
It's bittersweet, right? Like, I hate how they massacred my boy Celio.
Look, it's got Water Pulse, but it's lost, Body Slam, its lethality there, so it's something, right?
Maybe. We'll have to see. Like, maybe, and this will come up when we look at the actual Week 5 meta stuff, but some of the things that we were chatting about, or that I was chatting about with Ophelia, were already happening, so I wonder if this will take up some of the slack for Lapras.
Yeah. Speaking of meta usage, we had it updated, and I have the pretty graphic. Wait, pretty graphic. There it is. So obviously, if you're gonna look at here, you might squint your eyes a little bit, turn full screen on, or just pull up the website. But there's a lot of up arrows.
Yeah, it's almost like things changed significantly or something.
It was almost like we had a move update in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So, you know what the ironic part is? In the Open Great League, despite this entire meta update, Skeledirge is still the #1 Pokemon across like all 5 weeks.
Oh, well, anything that was consistent week 1 through 4, like, you almost can't change enough in the 5th week to throw it off too hard, right? Like,
yeah.
But the fact that it did change from 43 to 8, yeah.
Oh goodness, yeah. That's. I think this is the first time I've seen as many arrows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrow drops and 6 arrow go up. I don't know how to say it. I'm at a loss for words. Like, I didn't think this was possible.
Stonks.
Stonks and not stonks. Let's go. But yes, let's go ahead and dive into Open Great League.
It's all stonks, Taco.
Oh, all stonks. All right, so in Open Great League, Clodsire was on 52%. It's the number 1 Pokemon now with 52.63% usage.
Crazy. The number 1 ranked Pokemon is number 1 usage.
Yeah, that's going to be something. Dunsparce is number 2 at 35%. Shadow Alligator at 3. Your boy Gastrodon at number 4. And then Malamar is number 5. All those
I will
Pokemon...
say Gastro is literally tied for 3rd.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Doesn't Gastrodon beat Clodsire though?
Yeah.
Because like Gastrodon walls Clod.
I don't know what your question is.
I was like, yeah, you answered it. Gastrodon does wall Clodsire, but I mean
It's pretty dominant, yeah.
But it's walled by Vandabuzz, Jumpluff, Superior.
Yeah, Claude is still more flexible, like, but yeah, Gastro, one of a handful of mud slappers that is moved up in the world.
Yeah. I knew Gastro was going to be a good pick. I have the receipts in my old Discord.
Well, the true advantage of so many of these upgrades is, of course, that they weren't really worth very many points. I think for Alligator aside, which was already ranked pretty highly.
Yeah.
I forget how many points that was worth.
And then here, I want to say it was a 3-point pick. Let's go with 3.
I had to find where
Pick 3, my
Battle Tower
lord.
was.
But yeah, kind of looking at
Yeah,
the
A
map.
tier it was 4 points.
Yeah, I was close.
There is no 3 points for Great League.
It's in the middle of 2 and 4.
It's just just
I was
6,
gonna
4, 1.
It's been a long 2 weeks. I'm a little rusty.
But Claude was also already in A, so
Yeah.
that didn't change too much, thankfully.
Yeah, and honestly, like I'm kind of liking this meta. Malamar surprises me, but I didn't think Psyweight would be that big of a buff.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's expecting the turnaround there, because it went from unusable essentially to
Meta defining.
Yeah, now it's 1 turn Shadow Claw.
I'm sorry, what?
Yep.
Okay. Is Metal Claw finally a Shadow Claw clone?
No.
How
God.
dare they?
No, this got talked about a lot. Just how Metal Claw is unlikely to get overtuned to that point because of how many legendary Pokemon have access to it.
Don't care, still do it. I need Dialga to be great again.
Yeah, because it's not already great.
I need Dialga to be great. Look, it needs to beat Landorus, and it needs to beat the other fairy types better.
Be best.
The Master League needs to be a Dialga-centered meta. And it also needs to be able to beat Zygarde Solgaleo, who also does get Metal Claw.
I think one of the surprising things with how high up the list Dunsparce is that Licky Licky didn't get more traction. Like, it moved up quite a bit, but not anywhere near the level of some of the other top picks for the meta. Obviously, that's different for Open Ultra, but yeah, it's just a little surprising that as the other kind of premier new rollout user, it's just sort of
well.
there.
It also did get a slight nerf because Body Slam got pinged, and Dunsparce. Well, no, Dunsparce had Rock Slide get pinged too.
Yeah.
Maybe Dunsparce is tankier.
Yeah, I mean, it's in general harder to remove, I think, but a Licky Licky is more flexible coverage. I guess what it comes down to though is you kind of pick one, right? Like you're not gonna run both.
Fair.
Unless, of course, that's like what you've been doing in GBL, which I know was one of the week 1 teams was both of them in the back.
Yeah. I wouldn't know because I didn't play the week. I didn't play Open Great League in GBL.
Yeah. They existed. It was good fun though, just especially if you had something like a Ariados you wanted to try out or whatever in front.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts before we move on into Open Ultra League?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we didn't really shout out last week. I think the Shadow Machamp is one of the higher ones, and
I'm surprised the Shadow Alolan Marowak isn't higher, to be quite frank. Maybe I just overestimated. Maybe I overestimated Fire Spin's buff, to be honest.
The issue, at this point, Alolan Marowak is whatever 4 or 5 times buffed in a row, and the bigger issue is that Fire doesn't have a great niche, especially when you have direct counters to it as your almost, or just the overwhelming majority of the top 10 are direct counters to Fire, right? Superior, literally in the 10th spot, is your first comfortable matchup outside of maybe Clefable.
But I was like, wait, Jumpluff isn't as comfortable?
Jumpluff can tank a move. That's the issue.
Ah.
If they're on acrobatics, that you don't want to tank that. So it's tricky. But more specifically, I'm really looking at those top 4, right? Like the Cloudslayer, Dunsparce, Feraligatr, Gastrodon, and then you can throw in Malamar for good measure.
Oh, because Malamar gets access to Foul Play.
Yeah,
and with the OP Psywave
is neutral, so it's not great. And then Machamp's with the energy generation on Karate Chop, also not free. And if you've ever played into Mandibuzz, that's
a sad day.
Yeah, that is maybe the part that we haven't touched on is just how little Mandibuzz shifted.
Mandibuzz is still doing Mandibuzz things,
right. Well, and it's just been a constant staple, and it kind of ended right where it started, and so I mean, Mandibuzz enjoyers rejoice.
I mean, you also had a feeling that it was going to kind of stay there with the Rock Slide getting nerfed, and Vigoroth with Rock Slide. I mean, Vigoroth doesn't really exist anymore in the Open Great League, but it with the counter Rock Slide, Mandibuzz could definitely have taken a few hits, but now it can just comfortably just say, "Here I am. I'm here to stay. You don't like it. Tough luck. Cry about it."
And when you look at the 2 biggest meta shifts in general, it's Mudslap and Astonish, or just Ground and Ghost, and Mandibuzz is happy with that.
Yeah. Mandibuzz will stare at it and just laugh at it and be like, "Ha ha."
Yep. Just reinforces the fact that Mandibuzz is just gonna continue being a fact of life.
All right, let's move on to the Open Ultra League. We'll try to spend a lot of time on these because we also got some cores to break down, and maybe I can go to bed at a decent time. But in the Open Ultra League, there's your Licky Licky topping the meta usage at 42%, Clefable number 2, Shadow Drapion 3, Malamar again at number 4, and then Tentacruel number 5. Interestingly enough, Shadow Drapion, Tentacruel, and what was that other one? Well, Glaring Wheezing, I didn't quite touch on, but though they did rise a lot, they're still kind of like, I think they were up there from week 4 to week 5, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there was Galarian Wheezing kind of in the same spot, so to speak. Fable jumped up, Shadow Drapion was at 12. Now is at 28%, or at 16% usage, so it still is a lot. However, we still kind of see those kind of like quote-unquote staples. I'd probably wager that Tentacruel and Galarian Wheezing is a staple at this point.
Yeah, well, and it's like we had Skeledirge across Open Great and Open Ultra just as kind of a reliable mix of damage, and is in almost the exact opposite spot of Mandibuzz as far as things that it wants to see. Where it's not super comfy with all these new friends.
Yeah, especially Clefable got a new charge move this season, did it? Or am I thinking of another fairy type user?
Yeah, it's got Swift.
Okay.
And Swift also got buffed on top of that, so it's got slightly additional coverage with that, or more spamminess.
I was gonna ask, is Swift a pre-nerf Body Slam clone?
I don't think it's quite that cheap. Show me Swift. Oh, no, it is 35 energy.
I wonder how much energy it does.
So the Swift is a Weather Ball clone.
Oh, okay.
So it's not quite as good as old Body Slam. Yeah. It does seem weird just to look at Body Slam as a strictly worse Weather Ball at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking also at like Psywave and Trainer battles. 3 power, 4 energy, 1 turn. Holy moly. It's like it can't decide if it's going to be a Dragon Breath or a Lock-On clone. It's going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, where it's just kind of a reversed Dragon Breath.
Yeah, I don't like it. Come pick me up. I'm scared.
as you should be. It means you're paying attention. But yeah, if you've played Ultra League this week, these are the Pokemon you saw, right? Like,
nope.
It's got a slight lean, like against the very high rated ones. Like your S tiers aren't showing up as much, but like Ape is gone anyway. I feel like people have moved away from Registeel. Swampert, Poliwrath, also pretty much out. Same with Greedent is in a little bit of a weird spot. Some people are still trying to use it, but I feel it's all about the Poison Darks and the Mud Slappers kind of duking it out right now.
I would say, remember, I'm still in rank 16 in GBL, but I've only seen on this, like a list of this, I've seen Clefable, Shadow Drapion, Tentacruel, Galarian Wheezing, Pangoro, and Feraligatr. I still have not seen a single Malamar or Licky. And my Machamp is very sad.
I'm trying to remember. Oh no, it's not actually banned. I was trying to remember if the Galarian birds were allowed, because that's one of the other higher usage Pokemon that we haven't talked about yet, that has really gone up with the Sucker Punch buff. Like that, I feel like got the most attention in Little Cup because there's now a lot better Bronzor fast move pressure. But yeah, Galarian Moltres is the real deal. Don't be surprised if you see it in Great and Ultra.
Okay. And then any final thoughts before we move on into the Open Master League?
No, we can go to the next.
All right. So, Open Master League. Well, they did say Mudslap buff. So we have the Rhyperior at nearly 60% usage. Holy moly! Primarina, after getting its Community Day in Hydro Cannon, has now become an absolute menace to this Pokemon society. Yveltal is going to be number 3, Tapu Bulu 4, Florges 5, Gyarados 6. Aside from Hisui and Avalugg kind of falling off a cliff from weeks 4 to 5. Yeah, it went from 2 to 6. Sorry, 2 to 7.
And Annihilate, similar deal. Or what is that?
Annihilate doesn't exist anymore.
25th.
Yeah.
After being in first or second for the whole thing. Or
yeah, I was gonna say.
I guess in week 1.
I was gonna say it's really weird that Hisui and Avalugg has fallen off so much, and then I remember Rhyperior has Mudslap, and Mudslap is super effective into rock types.
Yeah, well, and it's also weak to Primarina, so that new kids on the block combo.
Yeah, I don't really know how to feel about it yet.
Well, you can continue to appreciate the Tapu Bulu, which didn't see much change just because it's cheap and grass type damage is hard to come by in a Master League, and when you've got a rock ground and a water up there at the top. And then the flyer is also dark. Like you still have something you can take advantage of with a fairy grass.
Uh-huh. Okay, I see what you mean now. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, Annihilate and Hisui and Avalugg are definitely the biggest losers of this meta shift. Everything else doesn't really seem to have changed too much. Although I, take that information with a grain of salt because we don't know what this is gonna look like. I don't know what the meta usage is gonna look like after, everything kicks off again in a week.
It does look like you had some people that if they didn't run the blue, they jumped into the Mega Venusaur, similar, like just because that's your other better grass type comparatively.
That is true.
And then with all those, like, or at least with those top 2 picks not taking up very many points, you also see things like Mega Caesar and Ho-Oh pop up a little bit.
And Mega Caesar with Bullet Punch can definitely give Rhyperior and Primarina a run for their money. I'm assuming Primarina's on Charm, just for simplicity's sake, obviously, but Waterfall might be a bit of a different story.
Yeah, and like any good Pokemon, it has that flexibility. So when game time comes, you can go ahead and drop the surprise.
Yeah.
I see some other Pokemon coming up that are under the classification, I hope you had your fun.
Are you talking about in the Polaris slot?
Polaris and Wasteland.
Okay.
Because we know from the future that this was a one-time.
Yep. So let's move on to Polaris, where we've got Ariados is king for a day. Literally.
Granted, it was like number 2 before, right? Yeah.
It was at 58% usage. It shot up to 69, a very nice number in percentage usage. Tyrant is number 2. Frostlass falls not far enough if you what's it called? In my opinion. To number 3, Samurott gets exactly is number 4 with exactly 50%, and then Shadow Drapion rockets up to number 5 with 41.23% usage, and everything else usage falls off a cliff from there with Dedenne at 28%, Lapras 27, Cradily 26. So this is a nice farewell for Ariados, to send it off. Hope you had your fun, and now it's going to be banned because the meta team loves to give certain Pokemon the boot.
Same with Malamar, where it got to shoot up and hang out. Like, I'm actually surprised that the usage was only at 21%. There were several of the matchups we looked at that it was on like 3 out of the 4 teams. Obviously, tiny sample size if it was in fact only on 21%.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say like. Well, I'm a little confused as to why, like, when you said Malamar is kind of lowly ranked, but at the same time, it warrants getting a ban. But maybe the meta team sees something that we don't see, and honestly, I'm okay with that. They do a good enough job as is creating metas where they hate Flygon.
Well, and maybe it's just a case where it was something that you just had to over plan for it, and it definitely felt that way in Wasteland, where I was dedicating more thought to it because I knew it was going to show up. And I mean that's obviously Ariados' biggest target, right? Is one-shotting Malamar.
That's what it's there for.
And then Trailblaze for covering all the waters and actually being a neutral move into Frostlass, which it's interesting that went down as much as it did. Granted, I mean, it's still on over half teams, but the fact it lost 10% usage.
It's still pretty wild in itself.
I'm wondering if people looked at like the Shadow Drapion as a slot replacement. What was the usage before? 22?
40.
So almost 20%. So between that and one of the others, like Cradily maybe, you can see where the Drapion usage popped up from.
Also kind of looking at it, I'm kind of looking at the Ariados and Mandibuzz. Maybe like they ban almost... so like if they ban Ariados, then that means Malamar can quote unquote run free. I'm gonna put the air quotes around that. So they didn't want that to happen, so they banned Malamar as well, which, looking at it in that perspective, kind of makes sense.
Could be the cascade a little bit.
And I guess that would also explain Malamar's usage being so low. Well, compared to Ariados, who's literally at number 1.
Yeah, well, and the better 1-to-1 comparison for the Drapion moving is the Cradily, like how much it fell. So that could have been the replacement, and it makes sense when you think about both Ariados and Malamar moving up in the world. Those are both pretty decent threats against the Cradily, even though Cradily is a rock type. It doesn't resist bug, so it's in a weird spot.
Yeah, it's definitely something. Cradily, and plus it was also hit with the rock slide nerf, so its rock slides aren't going to be as damaging, which it put the temptation of Stone Edge back on the table. That is exactly where I was going with, and I probably would put Stone Edge on my Cradily just for that firepower or rock power.
And it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out with those 2 removed. I feel like their presence is really impactful on where we landed with this meta. Shadow Drapion is probably just gonna hang out though. Like it's such a good safe swap.
Yeah, but I think there will be some checks for it, or some checks to it, so I'm not too concerned. It is weak to ground type, so maybe we have, you know, Walrein landing an Earthquake, or Piloswine landing a high horsepower. There's some things that can be done about it. Obviously, like, you gotta find those diamond in the rough type situations.
Yeah, RIP to the Vikavolt users at 3.5%, but same deal for Snorlax and Lapras, who were up until week 5 kind of the tried and true tanks of the meta. It'll again be very interesting to see if anything really picks up that slack, or if this just becomes a frailer meta because your tanks just got worse.
Yeah. Will it be as frail as Wasteland? Who knows?
I mean, there are some overlap mons, right? But the overall like bulk standard, I think, is just higher enough in Polaris that it's hard to compare.
Yeah. I was using that as a segment to move on into Wasteland.
Yeah. I don't, well, and it's like if you saw matches with Spiritomb and Malamar, like they were super oppressive, but at the same time removing them, I don't know what changes from week 4 forward, aside from Melmetal, I think, continuing to be on its way out. I am somewhat amazed that Melmetal stayed up over 60% usage. Granted, that's still like a 20% drop from as high as it has been, but yeah, even the fact it was on 2 out of 3 teams after kind of like landing in a questionable spot of whether or not it could still do the job that it had been doing.
It is definitely a bit surprising itself, despite, you know, like the Rock Slide nerf. However, I mean, Superpower, we can't ignore just Superpower's presence, because, like, I mean, I like to use this story a little bit. Big Dude doesn't like the story too much because he was on the receiving end of it. But when Beware got his Community Day move, or actually no, when Beware was released, and I decided to use it as a spite to show, like, you know what, Beware's number 1, and people were saying he didn't deserve that number 1 because of a lack of a bait move per se. My first round was up against Big Dude, and I launched Superpower after Superpower, and he messaged me afterwards. He goes, "You are the only trainer that I have ever faced that would use Superpower after Superpower and not even touch Stomp." And I just told him, "You were expecting Stomp. I threw Superpower. I either got all your shields, or I took out your Pokemon in the process. There was no middle." That's all of which to say, like, Superpower is a very impactful move, and I think it's in a great spot for what it is. It does a massive amount of power and can, you know, drop, like, for its drawbacks. And so even though, like, Melmetal got nerfed a little bit with Rock Slide, Superpower is still there to just kind of keep it afloat per se.
Yeah, it is one of the more reliable sources of fighting type damage in that way, but it's really interesting to me that the Furret usage stayed just right where it was, even though it took a strict nerf with the Dig nerf. But I think that's also somewhat paired with players just wanting to find whatever bulk they can. and Furret is one of those mons that could potentially tank a move.
You know, if you're feeling a little spicy, you could also throw a hyper beam out. I'm just saying.
It's if there were better targets, like I don't know that you're getting the mileage out of it, right? Like a lot and maybe that's the story, is that maybe Furret players were more willing to just go ahead and brick break quick attack through everything. It's like, oh, so I don't have dig anymore, I guess I'm just throwing brick break now. That's a whole load off my brain. I don't have to think, I can just debuff everything.
Yeah, yeah, when you look at it that way.
Because yeah, even like Beedrill, those quick attacks start to chunk after a couple debuffs.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that you're gonna want to kind of watch out for. Yeah, and maybe kind of looking at it, most likely that Furret was just there to kind of like basically throw you off your game and debuff you, and then in came Melmetal with superpower, and just, you know, that's how you want. Everything else, nah, who needs it?
And that's the only Wasteland changes, right? Yeah.
Pretty much.
So nothing, yeah, nothing too crazy there. I
can't spell ponytail.
I think this will actually be healthier for the meta. The fact that Nidorina and Furret are not quite as oppressive with their digs. Like, I mean, they still have their debuffs. They still are the tankier picks that you can use, but at the same time, I like that they're a little less safe.
Wasteland needs to be the frailest meta in this scenario. Like, full stop, hands down. I will not elaborate further.
Well, and even like Malamar and, I mean, no one was running Spiritomb before, but both of those are kind of comparatively mid-range bulk for this meta. And now that those are gone... Sorry?
I said, did I say Spiritomb was banned in Wasteland? I can't remember.
I thought so. That's what I started talking about, at least, was the fact that they were very oppressive for the 1 week they were on their new height. But yeah, the story I don't think changes very much for Wasteland overall. I think we're kind of coming full circle. We had our one crazy week, and we're gonna be back in a similar spot, aside from seeing a few less Melmetal. Like it won't be on literally every team anymore.
Yeah, it's true. It'll be on 3/5 of every team now.
Yeah, and that'll be the decision that's interesting to see, right? Is if players decide after they had their week with it nerfed, and then with our changes finalized, if it does what they need it to do.
Yeah. And so we'll kind of see how that goes in the start of Cycle 3. You know, but if there's one thing I do know about kind of analyzing the meta, or analyzing these meta usage charts, don't even try. Because the players will do whatever they want, whenever they want, and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to run this, but that's really bad. I'm still going to run it. Or the other players who, you know, give us, or they talk about like an interesting pick they used after the fact, it's mind-boggling to say the least.
One maybe final thought that I hadn't touched on out loud, I don't think, even during our last episode, was that I went and checked on Mew just because I was like, oh, let me just go through its moves real quick and see how it weathered this whole set of changes, and it got entirely nerfs. Aside from the surf, which is just like a change, but as its like premier charge move, because of how cheap it is, like I call that a nerf just because it changes how you play it. And yeah, it was a little whelming just to look at the whole long list of Mew's moves and see all of its options. The only changes were nerfs.
I am now calling you our resident Mew expert.
I mean, you just, when it's legal, it's worth it usually to check in on it and see. And it was, and maybe it will be again after you get the up and coming dark types out. The other Volt Switch user, because for some reason people really haven't taken to Electrode the way that they have Ampharos, like, and I think it's mostly pacing, right? Like,
yeah, because
you get entire extra charge moves out of Ampharos, so like that part isn't surprising. But the fact that Mew has still kind of been the other Volt Switch user ahead of Electrode is maybe more what I'm getting at.
Yeah, that is something that definitely is interesting to say the least.
So yeah, sorry friends that enjoy the Mew.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of weird that Mew doesn't get access to these new moves. I think it should.
Yeah, the list of moves it has, I don't think it's gotten buffed since the flame charge change.
Yeah, needs more buffs, please.
It could use some help at this point.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't. I think it'd be a good time to take a quick commercial break. This is gonna be a little bit of a shorter episode, so.
I like it. Unless there was just like a. You said you wanted to do something with the cores, like if there was something that was standing out to you that you wanted to shout out.
Oh, I downloaded, or I took a picture of the cores just to see if anything really stood out, but it looked like. Here, I have it pulled up on screen. It looked like everybody went from like Skeletor insert Mon here to Clodsire insert Mon here.
Yeah, well, and I find that the tricky part, unless you really sit with the pairs for a while to see anything more than, hey, it's all of the top used Pokemon together.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, even when you look at it, it's like top cores: Clodsire Malamar, Clodsire Dunsparce, Clodsire Shadow for Alligator, Clodsire Gastrodon. Like,
yeah,
the top 4 cores is essentially like you're gonna run into that core on at least
5
20%
Pokemon.
teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Clodsire Shadow Machamp, Clodsire Jumpluff. It really, like, just this is now an applaud the Claude meta in Open Great League. You're gonna plan for Clodsire, you gotta plan to beat it, and now that I realize that, I am hoping that my team that is completely untested can beat the Clodsire.
Oh, I guess that's one thing we forgot to talk about. I don't mean to delay the break more, but just how the open leagues are changing. Yeah,
I didn't mention that at the top top part. I probably should have. Right.
I mean, it's fairly straightforward for Open Great League, right? Like the fact that you can now use it as actual stomping ground / practice for play Pokemon stuff. I feel a lot of people are going to appreciate that. It does mean you're going to have a little bit less variety, a little bit less new build potential, I suspect, but at the same time it also means a whole lot less time spent team building, which I know can be tricky just to make sure you're not getting hard walled, especially in fully open metas. Like that's where the team building really matters a lot.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself on that one.
And then yeah, they're picking up a lot of the mirror bans for the official events so that you're already thinking of the things that you need to and not extra stuff.
Yeah, the only
Megas.
change, yeah, the only change is like megas are not allowed, but the biggest change is there isn't this. The only thing that is banned is megas. They want to emulate play Pokemon tournaments, but they have a short list of things that they discourage, meaning things that are banned in play Pokemon. However, according to the announcement, it states it is discouraged, but it's not banned. So if you want to run a Go-Goat, do it.
Well, and what I suspect that means is if you're familiar with the play Pokemon bans, you know that it's essentially just the list of unobtainable combination Pokemon and moves. And
yeah,
for the most part, they're not useful anyway. So it's not a big deal. However, they're just kind of saying, hey, you're shooting yourself and whoever your opponents are in the foot if you go out of your way to use these kind of weird trophy Pokemon.
I mean, this is probably the best chance that you're going to use it, in my opinion. But yeah,
again, they gave us back so like pretty much anything that was legal and useful we have access to and is no longer banned. So
correct.
it's really just the stuff that you wouldn't use anyway.
That is fair. And then, of course, Ultra League is a 2-tier 3-point system. Megas won't be allowed. And then Master League, they're adjusting it from 8 points to 11 points. I thought you had talked about it in last week's episode, but wait, no, that was September 12th. That was a Thursday. Never mind, I'm wrong. I'm crazy.
No, yeah, we got everything actually released after we recorded. So
how did it feel?
We didn't have previews. We had to guess. I feel like we had decent guesses for all intents and purposes.
I mean, I like to think y'all did a very good episode. I enjoyed it. And I'm not saying that because
we didn't have much to work with, but we worked with what we could.
I was like, and I'm not saying that because I'm here. Like, I genuinely enjoyed like listening to y'all while I was on my vacation.
air quote vacation.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, that was the only like core thing I wanted to touch on. It's just on the Open Great League part.
Yeah.
So I think now is a great time to go to break. So
now is good.
Yeah. So with the meta usage breakdowns, that one. With the meta usage breakdowns kind of taken care of for this week and for the final Battle Frontier, we're going to take a very quick commercial break. I need to hydrate a little bit. But we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Don't forget to dehydrate.
This episode of Enter the Dragoner's Den is sponsored by Pokemon Go Raiders. Pokemon Go Raiders, or PGR for short, is a Discord community that has been hosting remote raids since its inception in 2021. As a very new user myself, I have found that navigating the Discord is very easy and there are very good explanations in the channel guide. would highly recommend setting up a profile once you're able to. Recently, PGR has started hosting monthly tournaments using the Devon Monthly Meta Series. This effort has been led by Galler JT, the new PvP tournament host and powerhouse of the bench of any team that he's a part of, be it factions or Battle Frontier. I will link the Discord in the description below for anybody who is interested in participating in monthly tournaments at PGR. He is very passionate about growing the PvP community, so I'll use some of his own words here to close out this advertisement. On behalf of myself and all of the PGR family, we appreciate you for everything you do to make this community great. If you need anything, feel free to DM anytime. Of course, please DM him. Don't DM me because I will direct you to him. Once again, thank you, Pokemon Go Raiders, for sponsoring this episode. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break, because I know I did.
I did everything that I set out to do.
You got dehydrated? That
Yes.
must have been a nice, quick little mini workout. I got my hydrated.
That's
Side-
good.
Speaking of which, it's really weird how like the entire country likes Stanley labeled things, but when I was in Texas, everyone was obsessed with Yeti brand things. And I looked into it and I found out that they're made in Texas. So it's like,
Well, and they're functionally the same, right? They're just direct competition, right?
Well, I know, like, didn't the Stanley Cups have like a lead poisoning problem? Like there was higher amounts of lead in them or whatever.
I don't know, man.
I mean, honestly, me either. I just kind of get a mug or a thermos or whatever, and I go, "This is pretty neat. I'm gonna use it." And I like this because it fits on my bicycle.
Yeah, well, and that's your constraint, right? Is that the function needs to
And
hit that checkbox.
I told my wife. She asked me why haven't I used my work water bottle, and I told her. The reason I told her, she just looks at me and goes. She just mouthed WTF to me. It's like, that's the reason why you haven't used it? I thought this whole time you didn't like it. I said, no, I just don't want to get it dirty. She's like, just put it in your bag.
It's just like a pretty notebook, right? Like you almost can't.
It's so pretty, you just don't want to get rid of it. Or don't want to write in it. Because it's like, what do I write? That's so special in this book.
Yeah, too special, can't write.
Alright, so tangents aside, this podcast is powered by our amazing patrons over on Patreon. You can support the show for as little as $1 US. Supporting the show for supporting the show at the $1 tier gets you access to our episodes at least 24 hours in advance. Unless Taco screws up the posting, then blame me 12 hours in advance. But you get it early. That's what I can say. When you get to the higher tiers, like the baby dragon tier and the adult dragon tier, you can access the entire patrons get access to a super secret channel in the Discord where you get to hang out with other patrons, and we get to ask for your input, and that's also the link where I give the patrons of hey, it's a 24 hours, at least 24 hours. Here's the video, or here's the audio file. Have fun. When you get access to the upper tiers, gets you access to also the recording booth chat, where you can access us in real time, and or type. I said fact check in real time, excuse me, and or type out the entirety of how your battle went out, what you did, what you didn't do, and just kind of give a play-by-play. We've had both of those things happen within the last month, and I am super happy that some of our patrons can join us. I'm really glad I was able to turn off the can speak function, because that would have been really odd and hard to edit out. Trust me. At this time, we wanted to thank our amazing patrons at the Dragon Egg tier. We have Thanks Obama, ZT Smith, Sotiri, DeFi8250, Staffordshire 12, and brand new patron, Hoosier Data 13. They actually became a patron when I was on vacation, but I felt a little bad that I couldn't shout them out until now. But we
Welcome
love you.
to the shout outs.
We love you. Please don't hate us. And then at the Baby Dragon tier, which is the $5 tier, we have fellow APAC podcast host Reviving Ophelia. She will be going live with Heydonis in the APAC region very, very soon. So, with that, oh wait, I forgot to do the other stuff. I'm going to rewind for a second. If you do not wish to support us if you do not wish to throw money at us for Patreon, that's totally fine.
Wait, there's more.
Exactly. That's also fine. If wherever you listen to your podcast via YouTube, Discord, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all we ask is you give us a rating, a follow, a like, comment, or subscribe. It feels really weird saying that because I never thought in a million years that we'd be on YouTube doing this, but here we are. We also do have an X. You can follow us at Dragonair Den. I really, really pinky promise that I will not forget the password anymore and start posting it regularly. The funny part is that the password is supposed to keep people out of the profile, but it's managed to lock me, the account holder, out of the profile.
Well, it follows the rule of passwords, which tends to be that they're very tricky for humans to remember and easy for computers to guess.
Yeah. You would not be surprised when I tried. So I forgot to log out of, or when I got the new phone and I got everything logged in, I still had to relog into X, and that was fun. I had to reset all my passwords because I'm also on there. I am at TacoDog8. But be warned, sometimes I've been described as I've been schizo posting, where I post anything that pops into my head, be it NASCAR, RuneScape, Formula 1, Yu-Gi-Oh! Most recently, and or random memes. Buyer beware. Just buyer beware. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're getting what you paid for with the Twitter.
98% of the time it's safe for work. The other 2% is just me going on unhinged rants about things and stuff. And old school RuneScape is better than World of Warcraft. There, I said it. We also do have a Discord. The link is going to be down in the description / show notes. Tap on that, read the rules, tap the taco emoji, get access. And you will be pinged at least once a week because it's a podcast Discord. Everyone's going to be reminded that the podcast is going live. Yeah. I think that's everything.
Was that it? Was that it all?
I think so. This time. So,
nice.
It's now time for a community engagement section. We haven't done one of these in a while, so...
It's been a hot minute.
Very much so. So we want to know, Battle Tower has officially ended. Everybody's had their fun. It wasn't too bad. However, we didn't really get, your thoughts and opinions on it. So we want to know, what are your thoughts on the Battle Tower? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Me personally, I enjoyed the fact that we got to play against teams from all over the world. I also dislike the fact that we got to play against teams all over the world, because time zone coordination is very difficult. And me personally, I did not like the amount of disputes that came in for coordination issues. I felt like it was a little too stringent, but I understood that we needed to move through these very, very quickly. So that's my thoughts on the Battle Tower. Overall, it was very fun. It had a lot of challenges and growing pains, but it was a net positive of fun.
Oh, and there was just enough drama, I think, to help make Cycle 3 and just Battle Frontier in general run smoother. Where there were some brand new teams that got to figure a lot out when the stakes and setup were very different than it will be being an open, and then a lot of kind of staple teams just got to get their hands on the metas early, which if you didn't play in playoffs, like, there was a lot of downtime. So I think it was well needed just to have a little bit of a outlet for the teams to rally around.
Yeah. I am very pleased to announce that the Dark Knight finished 2-3 overall. However, one of those teams got removed. So I like to think that loss turns into a win, which means we finished 3-2. That's my copium. But I do want to give a special shout out to one trainer, or to two trainers in particular. They made the leaderboards for their respective slots that they played in, and it was absolutely incredible just how far these players have come since joining the team. I do want to give it, and so here's probably the best place to do it. I didn't get to do it in part 1 because we were talking about meta. So here I want to give a big congratulations and then a special shout out to our Open Great League specialist Rainfall on the Dark Knight. Absolute clinic he put on with his very interesting teams. I think he only lost one time, I don't think he got swept 0-3 the entire time. Absolute, just phenomenal battler. I'm glad he's on our team. I'm really glad he's on our team. And then the second one is in the Polaris slot with Axe. We brought him on as a field specialist to but basically be the slot 2 with Hasui and Ryan. And that guy and our trainer, Axe, he brought in just 3-0, 2-1s. He didn't lose a single set until the very last week, and he went 1-2. Never got swept. He was number 3 or number 2 in Polaris and number 3 overall at the times when leaderboards were revealed. And my hats go off to both of those trainers to be shouted out as like an open tier team, being with some of the best battlers across the entire region, across the entire battle tower. They deserve a round of applause. So very much congratulations. This is your clapping. And no, I'm not going to clap super loud because that's going to be hard to edit out.
We get the golf clap.
Exactly. But yeah, there wasn't a better place to put it, so I'm going to put it right here. And to the rest of the team, y'all, two trainers don't make the entire team. It's a group effort. Y'all put amazing effort in the Dark Knight. Just seeing y'all play and be passionate about everything, I very much enjoy it. We're gonna be a force to reckon with in the open tier, and I'm super proud to be your captain.
Yeah, it'll be really fun to see how you guys do. I think the transformation between Cycle 2 and Cycle 3 will be apparent, just much more consistent overall, especially with all the new players that are really going from being more or less just alternates to being active roster. I think is very significant, and another reason that Battle Tower was just nice was that any new onboarding that you got to do, that you don't have to start them off in the real cycle, right? Like you got to just kind of have a little bit more freedom, I felt like, to try things out, especially week 5 when everything was crazy. Just like having the option to say, hey, if there's any other slot that you want to try this week, like, this is the time.
Yeah. And especially, like, you know, like, I was the only player that did not play all of Battle Tower. I mean, for good reason. I had other things going on, but I just wanted to say, like, hey, and if y'all want to play, go for it. Take it. Like, I'm not going to be like, well, Taco, you haven't played yet. You know me. I'd much rather let y'all play, y'all have the fun. I may be an old man on the bench, but I'll still come off and, you know, get some points for us.
To put on the blocks and gloves.
Gotta show you young whippersnappers what it means. So remember that tournament we did in the Discord? Where, like, I don't remember where it was, but, like, first round I played Zimmy, then I played Shervine, then I played Jack. And then last round I played Danny. It was a 4-round one. I go, alright, I just got all of the D-Nair I have to fight.
Yeah. Hello, friends.
I'm your captain speaking. If you win, I'm putting you on the bench for that week. No, that would have been bad. But yeah, so my thoughts on Battle Tower. I loved it. I love to let the new guys kind of, you know, cut their teeth on the experience, and everyone's super excited. I'm very, very happy, and I'm ready to see what this team's got.
Well, and across the board, just congratulations to all the players who made leaderboard, and again, just big shout out to everyone that this was your first either Battle Tower or team format experience. I know it can be a lot. So hopefully you also learned a lot and feel like you're ready for the main cycle.
Yeah. And, you know, watching D-Nair just kind of do absolutely amazing things. I think y'all finished 4-1 or 3-2.
We were 3-2, but we had some very we had a few of those 11-10s, but you know what, like, more of them went our way than not.
The 10 to 11s really came back. I mean, you took Sharks and Wreck all the way to the last match.
Yeah, well, and that, like, playing them and playing Chicago Stars week 1, it was a lot of fun to really get to have that battle experience with these teams that we've talked about in the upper tiers for quite a while now.
Yeah. Also, you guys finished... Oh, where are you? 11th. Nice. I'm proud of y'all. I don't see... Where is... Oh, Barktown Boomers. They finished 1-4. They were definitely just having fun.
Yeah, well, and that's something that me and Ophelia commented on last episode. We were like, guys, what's happening?
They're doing a little bit of a rebrand. They've added some good talent, according to their Twitter.
Well, and again, like, I feel like that was half of the purpose of Battle Tower. Was it got to less, like, just soften the blow going into cycle 3.
You know, your last one, you beat the CMP Masters Apex, and they beat Barktown, so therefore D-Nair beat Barktown. I don't make the rules. I just, you know, I just called it like I sees it. Yeah,
well, and I, like, low-key, we were really hoping to end up, by luck of the draw, battling more of our friendly, like, rival teams. and we were glad that we at least got one of the teams in a heads up.
Yeah, I mean, there's also like the scrimmages that y'all can do. I know that I had the Dark Knight fight y'all, and then they fought the Thunderdome team. I think they did Thunder Fury. So a lot of them had their fun with it. Anyway, that's tangent aside. We gotta move into the Play Pokemon segment before it gets too late. So, obviously, we're gonna talk about the Carbaja? I think that's how you say it. Sized elf. The Carbaja in the room. Or Copperajah.
I was like...
Copperajah, there we go. I was like, what am I saying? We're going to talk about the Copperajah in the room. The amount of one-turn lag that plagued basically the entirety of the stream matches was terrible. And
well, if you've been playing the game, you know, like it's just a thing. That is the game right now.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I hate it. Like, and then you go to the known issues page and it says resolved. Niantic.
Yep. Well,
it's one thing. It's one thing to not. It's one thing to not acknowledge that issues happen, but when you try to gaslight an entire player base to saying it's resolved, when like on the regional stage, technically the world because the world was watching, your game that's supposed to be working does this, it's like, why do we even try? Why?
Well, and just like the consistency of the issue, right? Like it wasn't just once, and it was at pivotal moments. Because like as we've talked about before, the more you know about how the game is supposed to work, the more often you realize that you're being cheated.
Yeah.
So it's really tough, and there like may have been a just stretch of time where that bug was fixed, but yeah, if you aren't keeping the page of known issues active and actually using it for its intended purpose, like it does feel a little bit abusive.
Yeah, I mean, it's wrong. Just, I know people say like Niantic, fix your game, blah 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 blah. However, in this instance, I mean, really, you people saw, and it just looked awful. This is not. Honestly, when I watching it, it made me, when I signed up for a regional, it made me not want to sign up for Go. It made me want to go do VG. And I mean, we just saw a brand new VG player, first regional ever. He wins the whole thing. So, Niantic, please, like, there's a lot of passionate players and we want to see this game succeed. And there's so many people on the ground putting, communities together to make this game grow. And right now, it seems like the biggest obstacle of that is y'all. I don't know if anyone at Niantic's ever going to watch this episode, but I'm talking to Niantic at this point, like, I don't know what it's going to take. And my biggest fear is by the time that it does get around to quote-unquote fixing it, Pokemon Go will go out the way Pokken did, with like just slowly dwindling interests, and the last world champion will eventually be crowned, and everyone will go back to playing VG or TCG.
Well, or I mean, this is the topic that I got pretty heated about in one of our episodes, is just like the longevity of the game is PvP. Like, that is the end game. It is the thing that should be invested in, because that's how you keep people around. But if that is something you decide that you don't care about, then like at least have the decency to
say it.
Yeah, be public about the fact that you don't really care.
Yeah. I mean, look how many PvP focused events were happening, just not even like the week leading up to Worlds.
Yeah.
Like it's there. Like they care. They just don't care enough to fix their known issues.
Granted, the follow through is a little bit iffy, right? Like the reason why some of the research mons, like, or even just the spawns, were
iffy
is because, you know, a good portion of them ended up being the ones hit with the nerf hammer.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I understand the thought, and like you see them on the world stage doing the stuff, but at the same time, if you know that all of that's about to change, like it feels weird to throw those at the community and put hope in people that it was like, oh yeah, you can still build that and use it. Nothing bad is about to happen.
Yeah. But you know, that's gonna be my, I guess, rant for the episode. I haven't had one of these in a while. I'm trying not to stay too salty because I'm trying to keep my cholesterol or my blood pressure down, I guess. I have a daughter now.
Stressed about other stuff.
Yeah, I have a daughter now, so I'm gonna try to be there for like when she graduates and stuff. I gotta be around a little bit longer. But Taco, you said in the last episode that you're in she's 16. Hey, a lot can happen in 2 years, my friend.
Your outlook is not very optimistic.
I mean, I almost died a week before my wedding.
Well, that had more to do with other life choices than general health.
Look. Look,
yeah,
you're not wrong.
We both have cups on the 22nd. Yay.
Yeah. We do, yeah. So I'm going to be pulling double duty that weekend. So the 21st, I have a VG cup. And then the next day, I have the September cup. I have a challenge tomorrow with a team I haven't prepped with. Oh, I forgot to message Zimmy. Oops. I was gonna message him for scrims. My bad. Dropped the ball. Bad Taco.
It's fine. You didn't need it, apparently.
Yeah. So with that, yeah. So mine is gonna be, or actually both bars are at the same time, 1 o'clock local time, obviously. So good luck to you, Jet. Hope you win. And likewise, I'm gonna try to take home the victory.
Honestly, I'll be happy just if I land on a team that I like by the time the tournament rolls around. It was a very last minute affair for this past weekend, so I'm hoping to come up with something a bit sooner this time.
That's fair. So, but yeah, you San Diego Challenge 2 went well. There was you went to 2 challenges or just the 1?
I went to the 1, but it's the second one that they've had there overall.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying, because I think I'm pretty sure I checked in after the first one and talked about that the Swablues basically swept it, and then second challenge, I was there. I got second to the Swablu member, not because I lost to them, but because just strength of opponent. We were both 3-0. There was no top cut, so
you should have fought them. Like, just be like, let's battle and see who the actual champion is.
Let's fight IRL.
I mean, that's just something I probably would have done just for shiggles, but that's just me.
I'm not worried. I'm sure we'll play at some point.
Yeah. Oh, before I forget, the winner of the Baltimore Regional was Wadaj in an amazing bracket reset. That kind of got like brushed over because of the one turn lag. But I feel a little bad now because we should have led with that. But congrats to Wadaj for winning the first regional of the 2025 season. You have
and just of the new meta, right? Like,
yeah,
I feel like this is setting the tempo for a lot of the events coming up. So it'll be interesting to see how the meta evolves from here. I feel like for the most part, it was
Odds on your show.
fairly safe. Like, nothing too off the wall. I need to open the top 16 again.
I got it pulled up here. So like it was the Clodsire show mostly, and then everybody was either going.
I think the like furthest, just like outside the iris was the just successive Shadow Typhlosion, right? Like, that was the story for a lot of the broadcast was, OMG, Shadow Typhlosion's doing so good.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was able to do really well considering you had Shadow Feraligatr, you had Azumarill, you had Dunsparce.
Well,
I don't really.
Shadow Feraligatr is part of the reason why it's good, right? You just outpace it.
Yeah. I don't really know about Guzzlord, the Guzzlord Shadow Typhlosion matchup too well. So I can't really...
you can kind of guess, right? Like the Typhlosion's throwing all resisted. So it's not great.
Yeah, but that Shadow Blast Burn is still going to do a chunk.
Yeah, the nice thing about Shadow Typhlosion is it's always worth chip at least, right? Unless you're super out of position with it where you just don't have any way to enable it. Like it's just caught in the back and you can't get it rolling. But yeah, all things the same, Shadow Typhlosion is always going to at least do some damage.
Yeah, and then looking at this is actually the first tournament where we had the Galarian birds that were legal.
True.
So it looks like we had 4 Galarian Moltres that I'm seeing. I lied, 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, this meta, it looks to be the Clodsire Clodsire Feraligatr show or Clodsire Azu show. Just kind of take your choice of water Pokemon. But I'm very interested to see what we're going to see in Louisville next month-ish. Unfortunately, I will not be going to Louisville. I am going. That is our 2-year anniversary. And I'm going to not be doing anything Pokemon related.
Oh yeah, but I was just noticing that Murphy ran a very similar team to one of the ones I ended up playing against over the weekend, and shout out to him for making it to day 2.
Yeah. Okay, so let's now move on to the salsa bar / where's the bacon. So, Jet, it's been a while since I've asked you this question. How are we doing?
Well, as far as encounters go, we're doing a little better with the new season starting, where it's more consistent spawns. It's jumped up a little bit just because I didn't update last week with the actual number, but we are up to 2020 encounters for the Lechonk, and we are still in search of the shiny.
And meanwhile, Staffordshire had to.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone that gets it. It is good to know that it is in fact still on, because it wouldn't be the first time that, unbeknownst to everyone, the shiny had just been turned off at some point. Looking at you, Magnemite. It's like, yeah, it was on and then it was off.
Yeah, your current gifts, your gifts, your reply are always just like, always just perfect.
Well, and if someone isn't like just saying, "Oh, hey, I got it," it's, "Hey, do you want it?" And I'm like, that's not the point.
I can take that shit.
Yeah, that is not what this is about.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Well, I got a salsa bar for you, and it's something that I just learned by taking my bike to the bike shop / Googling basic bicycle maintenance.
We like when the bike stories don't also involve bodily harm.
This is not bodily harm related, actually, but this is actually okay. First, I'm gonna tell a little story. So the first thing I did when I got back is I took my bike I started to slightly tune it up a bit, and first thing I did was tire pressure, all that fun jazz. Took it out for some rides. I started riding it to work, yada yada yada. Well, it turns out that I kept breaking a spoke on my back wheel, and it felt like I broke the spoke at least once every 3 to 4 months. That's not supposed to happen. For those of you,
I'm detecting that is too often.
It is. So typically spokes will last. So the longest I've ever heard of a spoke lasting is 10 years. They probably don't do a lot of riding. But it depends on how much you ride. Typically, spokes will, before you need to tune up the bike, like the wheel itself, it lasts about 100 miles. To the average cyclist, that's months, because people don't ride their bikes a lot. To me, that is 1 week. So I realized when I took my bike into the shop and I asked, is there any way I can prevent my spokes breaking? And he looked me right in the eye and he goes, do you retension your spokes at every 100 miles? And I looked at him and I go, I'm supposed to do that? He goes, you should. It keeps the things tensioned and you won't break the spoke. Your wheel
it makes it do the thing that makes it go.
Or your wheel won't wobble when you're riding, but you know that all the axles are good. So that's how you keep your bike aligned. And so I looked at him and I go, so you're telling me that of all the times I could have bought that wrench, that little spoke wrench, and could have just done it myself at home once a week? He's like, yep. And I realized how much money I've spent fixing broken spokes over the last 2 years that I've been riding. It's about $300.
Well, at least it's an amount where it doesn't hurt you inside.
But it does hurt me inside, Jet.
I more mean it's okay, yeah, that's obviously money you'd rather save, but
Jet, that's 4 tires that I could have bought for my bicycle to replace the winter ones, and then for the new summer ones. That would be about $20 short. Or I could have bought 2 new rims, and so I don't have to just swap the tires out. I can just swap the rims out. Point being, to a bicycle, that's expensive. Or I could have used it to save it as a down payment for an electric bicycle.
Would you have?
I would have actually. I've been slowly saving up money to afford an electric bicycle because, yeah.
Is it in Bankachu?
No, it's empty, as I showed you all as I showed you all on Saturday.
Good.
But I've got some coins that I could put in Bankachu.
No. It's not safe.
Look, the fact that thing is almost as old as I am and still is not broken, even though he was supposed to have been broken, I'm proud of myself.
Built to be broken.
There was no plug. You were meant to break it, and I refused to break it. Anyway, so that's my story. I could have learned basic bicycle maintenance. Other than
now you did.
yeah, and instead I didn't. But it's fine because bike's running good. I love it, and I don't have to. The other one was, and I asked him, he goes, "Are you fat?" I go, "I'm a little fat." He's like, lower your tire pressure. Don't ride at 70, ride at 60. So I'm doing that now.
Makes sense, just to take a little bit of the mechanical pressure off.
Yeah, because like if you go over a bump and you're at like 80 psi, all that force is just going to go into the spokes. It's not really going to be absorbed into the tire.
Yeah, if the tire has no squish, it has no absorb.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what we learned about, and now I run at 60 psi instead of 80, 75 to 80 psi.
So lots of learning this week with the bike.
Yeah. In my defense, I didn't really think about bike maintenance other than like, is my air good? Do I have any punctures? Are my tires looking good? Yeah, all right, let's go.
Yeah, can I ride it? Okay.
Yeah. All right, so it's achievement time. We have one achievement this week. We have G-Meister place 6 in the Spore series, which is a weekly tournament hosted in the... Where is it? In the Among Us Bus Discord server. They host it every single Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
That's a reasonable time.
Yes, it is. I host it every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I would highly recommend, following them on X and looking for their next deal. There's also a YouTube link. It gets passed around every now and then. I do not have the link with me, so I do not have it in the show notes. However, Rainfall Rainfall does have access to the link, so if you want to reach out to them, I would highly recommend doing that. Alternatively, we also have our first tournament, PGR does their monthly tournaments. They mostly use the Devon series, but they had an Open Great League tournament these past couple of weeks. Actually, they started on the 5th. It's the 16th. It lasted 11 days, so good on them. And sounded like they did a really well. So, but anyway, going back to G-Meister, he plays 6, which was top 8 out of I don't remember which one, but just placing in like on an infographic of how you did, 100% like really nice. So, congrats to him. I'm also trying to find the picture, but I can't find it. I'm in the wrong server. That's why.
I'm in the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah, in the top 8, he plays 6 behind. Where is he? There he is. Behind Spork, Ashapster, SS Thorn, 17, and then the eventual winner, King OWT. So there's some big names in there that he placed really well against. So, like I said, congrats to him. We don't have any veteran, expert, or legends yet because it's still very early in the season. The season is literally 2 weeks old as of this recording. That may change if you have an achievement that you think. Actually, if you have an achievement, place it down there. You'll get a shout out here on the podcast.
I have a. How do I want to say this? I have a salsa bar adjacent. Today I learned.
Oh,
that's related to achievements.
I'm listening.
Where, because the season's brand new, the leaderboard is only like half populated right now, and the reason that it's only half populated is because you need to hit veteran, and then after that it will keep track of you. And I didn't know that there was like a rank association. I thought it was just a rating. So that was interesting to see that they have that included.
I thought that too, honestly. Like what you were thinking, where once you have your elo, you're eligible for the leaderboards.
Yeah.
So today we learned things together. Speaking of, GBL progress, so like I said, I had an 8-day not head start, an 8-day vacation. So I started September 9th, and I've been playing and playing and playing. I tried to speed run to rank 20, and I failed miserably, like doing that whole tanking spiel. But no, it's not for me. I'm gonna play. So I currently have made it to rank 16 as of the 16th of September. And so I'm hoping to get my elo during this, hopefully by the end of this week.
Well, and you like Psychic Cup anyway, so it works out.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite cups. I know people are like, oh, it's just blah, blah, blah. I was like, shut up. Just shut up. I don't care. My two favorite cups is Psychic and Fantasy. Psychic because I went on that incredible 21-4 run. And then Fantasy because I get to play Flygon, and Flygon is meta, and everyone's like, oh, let's play Flygon. And I'm like, y'all are hating on Flygon, but now all of a sudden he's good. Everyone wants to use him. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, context. Context matters.
Yeah. Call me a hipster, I don't care. Anyway, Jet, how's your GBL progress going? Do you have your elo yet?
Yeah, so I'm in the 2300s. Yeah. it's weird knowing that the bottom of the leaderboard is just like right where I am. Yeah. So it's a little sweaty, and it's Ultra League, so I find I don't play as much. But it's been fun. Got a good team that I borrowed from Taffy Star Video, so.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. Which means you'll probably be on the leaderboards soon-ish if you keep climbing.
Yeah, if I play sets before the changeover, I might be able to make it. We'll see.
I think you'll make it.
Still have to hit that vet against people who have also been doing really well. So,
gotcha. And if you need a team for Psychic Cup, I got one that is definitely going to help you climb.
I mean, we'll see. Like the thing that I'm actually looking forward to with Psychic Cup is just how many new contenders there are with the new buffs this round. Like the Astonish buff is actually relevant for Psychic Cup. The Mud Slappers to kind of keep the Slowbro in check. But yeah, there's one
core breaker I'm noticing, but I think I got this.
I think it'll be a little different from last round anyway.
Yeah, and it's going to be just good enough for me. So, all right. So with that, it is time that we say our farewells. So this is a nice episode to come back to. It's very fun. I hope you had fun, Jet.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like between doing episode last week and then the recording stuff we did over the weekend, like that I've been doing more, just like kind of rapid fire, but it's been good.
Hey, when people ask if we want to be guests, we can't always say no, but I mean, it's fun. It's fun to just hang out with some old friends and catch up. And this is honestly the highlight of my Mondays, is talking with you. So, yeah,
I'm very I'm proud of the fact that we've stuck with it and gotten to kind of put our mark on the sphere.
Absolutely. And thank you guys. And recently, I do want to just shout out a couple of milestones that the podcast has gone through. Recently, we did pass 5,000 plays over the lifetime of the podcast, which is honestly very, awesome. Like I said before, and I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. I didn't think that we would be doing this for this long. We thought that, we'd do it for a cycle, and people would probably listen here and there, and that was it. And then we're like, oh, we're doing this. This is fun. And then Sylph closed, and we go, what do we do now? And then, Battle Frontier came along, and now here we are. So for everybody that has listened these last 2 years, thank you guys so much. It really does mean the most, and it's a very humbling and very fun experience. I feel like I've gotten to know a lot more people in the space, and like I can't wait to see what year 3 brings. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Y'all are amazing. I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try my best not to cry right now.
Yeah, thanks for being part of our podiversary.
And maybe one day we'll do an Ask Us Anything. I just have to remember to put it on the list of things to do. So, with all that being said, always remember, keep those dragon fangs sharp. Stay away from those fairy types. Ice types are extremely overrated. You can beat them. And until next time, we will see you all in our next episode. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to practice all the new Pokemon.